Okay, let's dive into this. If you've just been invited to take the CCAT, you are probably feeling a wild mix of anticipation and, let's be real, a little bit of dread. But hey, that's exactly what we're tackling today. Welcome to this explainer. We're going to explore the source material and demystify the CCAT together. We'll break down the format, tear into the exact question types, and uncover the proven strategies that can actually boost your score when the pressure's on. By the time we wrap up, you'll have your complete guide to beating the clock. So, let's get right to it.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the 15-minute challenge. Second, demystifying the question types. Third, why most candidates fail. Fourth, scoring in job benchmarks. And finally, 7 strategies for success. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the 15-minute challenge, and the stark reality of the CCAT format. Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand what this test is actually measuring. The CCAT, which is developed by Criteria Corp, doesn't test your job-specific knowledge at all. Instead, it measures your raw cognitive ability. We're talking about how quickly you learn, how effectively you solve problems, and how well you hold up under intense time pressure. And research consistently shows this is one of the strongest predictors of job performance out there. But to measure that, it throws a massive, daunting wall of 50 questions right at you. And what's really interesting here is what's missing. There are no separate sections. You might get a percentage problem, right? Then a vocabulary analogy, and then a weird matrix puzzle in 3 consecutive questions. That constant mixing? Yeah, it's entirely intentional.
And here is where the real challenge kicks in. You have to answer those 50 questions in a brutal, totally unforgiving 15 minutes, basically the time it takes you to drink a cup of coffee. The content itself, well, it isn't impossible. It's that ticking clock that really breaks people. When you actually do the math on that, it leaves you with roughly 18 seconds per question. Think about that, 18 seconds. And you've got to do this with no calculator and no ability to go back to previous questions. Literally, once you move on, that's it. You're done with it. It's a rapid-fire cognitive sprint. Now, if you're feeling a bit stressed just thinking about that kind of pacing, consider this fact. The average test taker answers only 24 out of 50 correctly. The biggest takeaway here is that most candidates simply do not finish all 50 questions. The test is literally designed to be unfinished by the vast majority of people who take it. Knowing this sets a realistic baseline, right? It should definitely take a little bit of that weight off your shoulders. Moving on to Section 2, demystifying the question types, where we'll break down the component parts. Looking closely at the makeup of the CCAT, we've got numerical reasoning, verbal reasoning, and abstract and logical reasoning. Notice how that largest chunk, the abstract reasoning, is exactly what most candidates are the least prepared for? Why is that? Well, it's because things like shape sequences, matrices, and syllogisms just don't typically pop up in our standard academic exams. Let's look at our first worked example to see how this actually builds your strategy. Here's a classic numerical question. A team completes a project in 12 days with 4 workers. How many days would 6 workers take, assuming constant productivity? Remember, you only have 18 seconds, so you need a repeatable rule. Step 1. Always find the total units of work first. So, 4 workers multiplied by 12 days gives us 48 worker days. Okay, step 2. Divide that total by the new workforce. 48 divided by 6 equals 8 days. So the rule is convert to total work, then divide. It works every single time, and it completely saves you from having to think from scratch. Next up, we have verbal reasoning. Say you get asked to find the word most nearly opposite to the word frugal, and your options are careful, thrifty, wasteful, modest, and industrious. The absolute fastest method here is a 3-step system. Step 1. Define the target word precisely in your head. Frugal means careful with money. Step 2. Eliminate the synonyms immediately. Thrifty is a synonym, so boom, cross it out. Step 3. Pick the direct antonym. Wasteful means spending freely, which hits the nail on the head as the exact opposite. Define, eliminate synonyms, pick the antonym. Simple as that. Finally, let's talk about the abstract questions, which are heavily based on matrices. Let's say you're looking at a 3x3 grid of arrows. To beat these, you literally have to train your brain to name the rule within 5 seconds. Step 1. Identify the rule in row 1. Maybe the arrow rotates 90 degrees clockwise in each box. Step 2. Check row 2 to confirm that exact same rule applies. Step 3. Apply that confirmed rule to row 3 to find your missing shape. You see, abstract questions reward rapid pattern recognition way more than calculation. Name the rule quickly, like rotation, reflection, or shading, and you'll fly right through these. All right, Section 3, why most candidates fail. Let's look at the structural traps that break test takers. When we really look at why candidates stumble, it helps to compare this to our usual testing experiences.
I mean, most of us are used to academic exams, right? They're neatly grouped by subject, they use formats we've seen for years, and they usually give us pretty generous time limits. Well, the CCAT is the complete opposite of that. It relies on rapid cognitive switching, throws completely unfamiliar abstract shapes at you, and just crushes you with that 18-second time pressure. It is designed to be an intentionally exhausting, chaotic environment. Because of that chaos, candidates generally fall into 5 common pitfalls. First up is time pressure shock. Feeling totally fine when untimed, but freezing up the second that clock starts. Second is cognitive switching fatigue, from constantly bouncing between math, vocabulary, and visual patterns. Third is a big one, overthinking. Listen to this incredible stat from the source material. Spending 45 seconds overthinking one hard question literally costs you the time you'd need to answer 3 easy questions later on. Crazy, right? Fourth, they stumble on those unfamiliar abstract matrices. And fifth, they just get frustrated, feeling like the speed format is inherently unfair. But remember, employers are testing your adaptability. Once you just accept the format, your whole approach completely changes.
Which brings us to Section 4, Scoring and Job Benchmarks. This is all about knowing exactly what you need.
So what score do you actually need to aim for based on your industry? As we mentioned earlier, a score of 24 is roughly the 50th percentile, and that's usually suitable for entry-level or customer service roles. Moving up, a 28 to 32 puts you in the 70th to 80th percentile, which is great for sales, operations, or project management. Now, if you're going for analyst, tech, or consulting roles, you really need to push into that 33 to 36 range. And if you have your sights set on elite private equity or senior SaaS leadership roles, you're looking at needing a score of 36 or higher, which officially puts you in the top 10% of all test takers. And the stakes here are incredibly high. We're talking about global gatekeepers like Vista Equity Partners, Crossover, Finastra, and Logic Monitor using the CCAT extensively. Vista Equity, for example, sets a notoriously high score bar for virtually all of its roles. The big takeaway here? If you apply to a company and you get an email with a link to a 15-minute, 50-question cognitive test, it's almost certainly the CCAT, and you absolutely need to be ready for it.
All right, let's get into the solutions. Section 5, 7 strategies for success and executing your game plan.
Listen up, because this is one of the most crucial takeaways from the source material. It's the absolute golden rule of the CCAT. There is no penalty for wrong answers. Therefore, you must always guess. Never, ever leave a question blank. A blank answer is a guaranteed 0, whereas a guess actually gives you a statistical fighting chance. If you see you're running out of time, literally just pick a letter and fill in the rest of the board. Building off that golden rule, here are your 7 rapid-fire, repeatable systems. Number 1, always guess. Number 2, skip hard questions immediately. Just mentally flag them and only return if time allows. 3, cap yourself at a strict 20 seconds per question. Remember, a super hard question is worth exactly the same 1 point as a super easy question. 4, learn those numerical shortcuts, like work rate and percentage change. 5, define the word before looking at your verbal options, then eliminate the synonyms. 6, name abstract rules in 5 seconds flat. If you can't see it, skip it. And 7, always practice mixed and timed to build up that crucial cognitive switching speed. So what exactly should you do the minute this explainer ends? You follow this really straightforward 3-step preparation plan. Step 1, benchmark yourself. Go take a free, timed baseline test to see your raw starting score. Step 2, identify your weak areas. If those abstract matrices are bogging you down, you've got to drill them daily. And step 3, practice under real conditions. Don't just practice one category at a time. Practice mixed, full 50-question, 15-minute sessions. Honestly, that is the only way to build the stamina and the switching speed that the CCAT actually demands. Which brings us to our final and definitely most important question. Are you ready to beat the clock? You've got the blueprint now. You know the traps, you understand the brutal pacing, and you have the actual strategies to maximize your cognitive stamina. Now, it's just time to put in the reps. Go check out some full-length practice resources, start benchmarking your score today, and go take total control of that 15-minute challenge. Good luck, you've got this.